First, I apologize for the last minute change. My colleague Kun Pai was supposed to come and present, but she was called away to northern Thailand at the last minute to go meet with some communities who are being affected by the dam that was mentioned earlier. So my name is Kirk Herberston. I am a human rights and environmental lawyer from the United States, but I am based in Bangkok right now. I work for an international nonprofit organization called International Rivers, and we are part of a larger network of activists in the region called Save the Mekong that are monitoring dams and environmental issues along the Mekong River. So International Rivers, it is based in the United States, but we have been active in the Mekong region since 1994. Our mission is to protect rivers and the rights of people who depend on them. And the way that we work is to support local movements and to provide research and advocacy to help local communities raise their voices, particularly around issues such as large dams. So first, I wanted to ask who in the audience was here last year when Ajahn Karl spoke? Were there a few people? Is there much overlap from last year?
Yeah, from last 2 years.
Last 2 years.
By Carl.
Okay.
Yeah, Carl came 2 times already.
Okay. So
we
this
have some background about Mekong.
You have some background.
We need some updates information.
Okay. So I will provide very brief background, and I apologize if this is a little bit of a repeat from the last 2 years. So I would like to focus on the issue that is very controversial right now in the region of building dams on the lower Mekong River. This is what I will talk about. I will briefly talk about the Mekong River. I will tell you about the plans to build dams. I will talk about why people are concerned. Then I will speak specifically about the Zaidori Dam, which is the first of the dams that is proposed to be built. So this is very basic background. The Mekong River, everyone here is probably already familiar. It supports the livelihoods of around 60 million people. It is the world's largest inland fishery with over 1,000 fish species. Many of the people depend on the river for food from fish and for water and for many other reasons. It is also important to know that this river here is transboundary. It crosses borders and needs to be shared by the different countries. So what happens up here can affect countries down there. These are some pictures of just a few of the ways that people depend on the Mekong River. So there is agriculture. The river brings nutrients and provides fertile land, fish, daily needs such as drinking water and washing clothes, transportation, culture, and also I put a picture of tourism because there's a lot of small businesses related to the river. So because 60 million people live and are linked so closely to the river, if the river changes, the lives of the people will also change. And in this case, the changes could be quite drastic. So now there are plans to build many dams on the Mekong River. On this map, In China, you can see in blue, several dams have already been built. China has built 4 and is currently constructing 3 more dams on the river. China has done this without talking to their neighbors. So there is a little bit of tension in the region because the dams up here are already having some impact down here. Currently, there are no dams on the river below China, but there are proposals to build 11 dams throughout the river. 9 of them would be located in Laos, and then the other 2 in Cambodia. So I put red dots where the dams are proposed to be located, and the yellow dot is the first dam, the Xayaburi Dam, which would be the one that could be built first. So why is this a concern to build dams? So in general, the purpose of the dams, there's 2 purposes. Of course, by building dams, the companies that build the dams receive a lot of profit. Also, the dams produce electricity, which could be used in cities around the region. But at the same time, very large dams can often have significant impacts on the environment and the people who live close to the river. This is one of the dams in China that has already been built on the upper Mekong River, the Lansang. I think it provides a good illustration of how it can change the river. It blocks the river flow. 2 of the major concerns, when you block a river like this, the nutrients that are gathered here cannot travel down below the dam. This affects farms and people who are trying to grow crops downstream. It also affects the stability of the river. The rock can create erosion. Also, of the many fish that live on the river, many of them migrate long distances to feed and to breed. When you build a dam like this, very few fish can travel from one side of the dam to the other. So the number of fish would decline drastically. With the dams in China so far, we're starting to see a problem with the agriculture because some nutrients are being blocked. We have not seen a problem with the fish because the dams are so far up that most fish do not migrate. But with the dams on the lower river, there will be a major problem with fish. Another thing that happens, another impact with dams, when you block this, the dam creates a reservoir. So it changes the river and there's more water stored here. The people living along the river up here, their homes are often flooded. So they lose their homes and they're put somewhere else. And many times the place where they are moved to is not as good as before, and there is more poverty. So with the lower Mekong dams, with the 11 dams that are proposed to be built, there was a scientific study that was done on the impacts that would happen if all 11 of these dams were built. 60 million people would be affected. 2 million people would lose their food security, which means they would have such strong impacts that they might not be able to find food to eat. Over 100,000 people would lose their homes and would be forced to move to a new location. The total fish catch that fishermen are able to get would decline by at least 25%, maybe up to 42%. All along the Mekong River, there are many small gardens where people grow their crops and their rice so that they can sustain their daily living. Over half of these would be flooded. The big problem is that the full extent of the impacts is not yet known, because there have only been some scientific studies. So many people who are opposed to the dam are saying there needs to be more scientific study so that we can fully understand the impacts before we make a decision on whether these dams are a good idea. So the Xayaburi Dam is the current source of much controversy. Of the dams that are proposed here, this is the one that is most advanced. This one would be built first. It has not been built yet. Here are the basic facts about the Xayaburi Dam. It is a US $3.5 billion project. It would be located in Laos. But the impacts of the project, particularly on fish, would be transboundary. So they would extend below Laos into Thailand, Cambodia, and Vietnam. Although the dam would be located in Laos, it is being built and financed by a Thai company, and Thai banks. Thailand would also buy 95% of the electricity. Laos would benefit by receiving revenue from selling the electricity to Thailand, which the government says it would use to promote development in its country. Here are some of the impacts directly from the Xayaburi Dam. So it would affect 200,000 people. Between 23 and 100 fish species would be affected, and some, including the iconic Mekong giant catfish, would probably go extinct. A number of the riverbank gardens near the dam would be flooded, and the people living nearby would lose other ways that they earn income. So this is a picture of women who are panning for gold. That is one way that many families supplement their income. The other reason that people are concerned about the Xayaburi Dam is that it is the first of the 11 dams. Under international law, the 4 governments of Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam, and Thailand are supposed to reach an agreement on whether these dams go forward. No agreement has been reached yet, but construction on the dam has already started. So if the Xayaburi Dam is built, there are fears that the other dams would follow the same process where construction would start before people agree if the dam is a good idea. So what we have emerging right now is an international conflict. The governments of Cambodia and Vietnam have opposed the Xayaburi Dam and have asked Laos to stop construction and conduct further studies on the impacts. The government of Laos and Thai companies are already building the dams. Donor countries, including Japan, have been active in providing money to fund further scientific research so that people can better understand the value of the Mekong River and the possible impacts of the dam. And there's this international body called the Mekong River Commission, where the 4 governments are supposed to come together to negotiate and reach a common understanding of whether to build dams. This body has been silent and has not made a decision.